Right now is the perfect time to plan out your holiday crocheting and knitting projects, and I have got a lot of great tips for you, and I've got a great free resource for you as well. So let's get planning together. Hi everybody, I'm Elise from the blog LePetiteSaintCrochet.com, and I want you to get your free handmade holiday planner and calendar. You're going to find a link for it in the description box below, and if you scroll down just a little bit in the blog post, you're going to see a box to be able to put your email address in, and I'm going to send it straight to you. But after you download your planner and calendar, make sure to check that email because I'm having a limited time sale on my handmade holiday printable cards and gift tags. They're only 99 cents for the next couple of weeks. So I just wanted you guys to know about them. So let's go ahead and jump right into our planning. Depending on when you're watching this video, you may be feeling like it is too early to be planning for the holidays, or maybe you're feeling like it is too late. I don't have enough time. But one thing I know for sure is that when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I am learning this more and more the older I get. Whether you are watching this video in July when I publish it, or if it is November, the best thing you can do to get ready for the holidays with your handmade crocheted and knitted projects is to make a plan. And the first step is to make a list of who you are going to make those projects for. One thing to really consider when you are making this list is to think about the people who will actually appreciate your handmade gifts. So if you know your sister-in-law Debbie has no care in the world for handmade gifts and she's not going to appreciate it, then you know what? Just go buy her a gift at Target and make everybody happy, because you're only going to stress yourself out and feel disappointed when you know somebody is not going to enjoy that gift. Try to make sure that all of the people on your list are going to actually appreciate all of the hard work, the time, your effort, and the money it takes to create handmade gifts, because I think sometimes people think that if it's handmade, it's cheap, but we all know that handmade items cost as much, if not more, than the same item that you could buy in a shop. So make sure to be really careful and selective about the people who are going to be on your handmade holiday list. My next tip is to choose your projects well. This is actually the part that can make or break the success of your handmade holiday. If you have a small list, a couple of people that you are going to be crocheting or knitting projects for, then you can choose longer or more complicated patterns. That just makes sense. But if you are going to have a very long list, it makes more sense to choose something that is a little bit simpler, a little bit easier. And I want to show you exactly what I'm going to be doing this year. I'm really excited about this pattern. This is the project that I am going to be working on for this Christmas season, and this is the stocking and sweater ornaments pattern by Handmade by Mary Ellen. I am over the moon excited about this little knitted project right here. These are actual Christmas ornaments that are going to go on a tree. She also has these super cute little wire coat hangers that you can use to put them on, and they act as the little ornament hanger, and I'm going to be ordering quite a few of those. But I just love how simple and cute this little project is. This actually works up super quickly. Each one of the sweaters and stockings has a different motif, and you can customize it for the animal that you might want, the holiday you might want. She also has hobbies and jobs and musical themed and cat ones and dog ones and everything you can imagine. There is probably a little motif for a little sweater or stocking ornament, and I am having so much fun with these. They work up super quickly, and now that I've made a couple of them, I am lickety-split getting them done. I've got another one on the go right now. Find a project that you don't mind making. It makes it a whole lot more enjoyable when you actually enjoy creating the project as well. Now, for the yarn, I am using my, if you've been here before, you might know exactly what yarn I'm going to say. This is the Barocco Vintage. It's a worsted weight yarn. It is beautiful. I love this yarn so much. I am using my Addi Turbo Rocket 3mm knitting needles to go with this pattern. You'll find links to the yarn and the knitting needles and the patterns in the description box below. My next tip is to choose a color palette, especially if you're going to be making multiples of the same pattern. That's exactly what I'm doing with my little sweater ornaments, is that I am using the Barocco Vintage in only 4 different colors, and that way it kind of streamlines everything for me. I have 4 colors to choose from, and I'm using Oats, Buttercream, Fennel, and Ruby. By doing this, you're able able to make sure that you have the appropriate amount of yarn for your project, it makes it so much simpler, and it just makes batch making that much simpler, especially if that's what you're going to be doing. It will look like a collection of gifts. It will be so beautiful to have them all in the same color palettes with different backgrounds and accent colors, but all in your same color palette. This next tip is one that took me a long time to start doing myself, and that is to keep your project in one place. I actually keep my projects now where I'm actually going to do my crocheting or knitting. I have my lovely craft room here, but this isn't really where I do a lot of my crocheting and knitting. As you know, this is actually my laundry room too, so I mostly do laundry in here, but I store all of my crafting supplies, all of my yarn and patterns and all of that in here, but I mostly crochet or knit in my living room in the evenings when I'm watching TV with my family. I keep my project in its own little project bag in this little cabinet that I have in my living room. That way I know exactly where it is. All the materials are in one place, and I don't have to go hunting all around because I'm very scatterbrained and I can't keep up with things if I don't put them in one spot. So that would be a time-saving tip, is just to keep it all in one spot, all in one bag, in the place that you're actually going to be crocheting or knitting, and that way you know exactly where it is every time, and not like me where I had to hunt all over the place. My next tip is to manage your time well, and this is the toughest one for all of us. I know for me, I'm usually super ambitious, and I think that I'm going to be able to accomplish so much more than I actually am. So I want you to ask yourself a handful of questions, and that way that might help you to decide what you should do and how you'll be able to manage your time. First of all, figure out how much time are you actually going to be able to devote to your crocheting and knitting projects for the holidays. Are you going to be able to work on it in the evenings, in the mornings? When will you be able to do this? My second question is, are you going to be working on other projects other than your holiday crocheting and knitting? So if you're going to be working on other things, you need to factor that in and decide, I'm going to be working on my Christmas projects on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or I'm going to only work on them on Saturdays. Try to find a schedule that works for you so that you can accomplish both of those goals. The next question is to ask yourself, have you bitten off more than you can chew? Make sure that you don't put yourself in the situation where you are going to be discouraged and upset, or you're going to be dreading working on these projects. Maybe this year you only get to a few people, and then the next year you could do other people instead of trying to do all of your Christmas list in one year. That can be unrealistic. So try to set realistic expectations for yourself. Be kind to yourself. Next, ask yourself the question, will the people who will be receiving these handmade gifts actually appreciate it? And if they don't, is it going to bother me? So if you go to all this effort and crochet this beautiful blanket and you give it to someone that you care deeply about, but they don't really appreciate the gift, how is that going to make you feel? So if you aren't sure if someone is going to appreciate that gift, maybe do something a little bit smaller so that your feelings don't get hurt. Sometimes people don't appreciate handmade gifts, and that's sad and that is tragic in my opinion, but it's just the way it is, and it's better to accept it and to move on. My next tip is for those of us who are going to be making the same project over and over, and that is to time yourself making one of those items. I have found a really great app called Toggle Track. I have been playing around with it a little bit, and what you can do is set up a project, and then as you work on it, you can start and stop the little timer and add it to that project. That's something that I really like. I have the little stopwatch on my phone, but you can't add those times to a certain project. That's why I like the Toggle Track app. You get the first 30 days for free, but it automatically enrolls you in their premium monthly subscription. But after your first 30 days, then you would be required to put in the payment if you wanted to. I don't plan on paying for this app. I'm just going to continue to use the free version because all I need is a way to keep track of each project. I don't really need all of the other things. The free version I think is going to be perfect for what I need it for. I'll leave a link for that one in the description box below, but I think there's lots of different timing apps out there, and you might want to look around and see which one works for you best. My next tip is to calculate your deadlines. Especially if you're going to be shipping these gifts, you want to check with your local post office, when do these need to be shipped out by? What is the last date? And that way you can work backwards to know, when does this project actually need to be finished by? Even if you're going to be handing your gifts to your loved ones and friends in person, it's good to kind of keep an eye on that timeline of when things need to be finished by. I personally don't want to be working on on these projects Christmas Eve. I would like to have these things done well in advance. That just makes me a whole lot happier. That way, the week of Christmas, I can just focus on having fun, being with my family, cooking, and all the other major stresses that come with the holidays. I don't want to have to be working on these projects. So make sure to calculate those deadlines, put them in your little calendar that comes with your free planner and calendar. That way, you know when things need to be done by. My last tip is to adjust and pivot. I don't know if you remember the show Friends, and there was one time when they were all trying to move this couch up the stairs and Ross was screaming, "Pivot, pivot." Well, that's what I want to tell you right now. Sometimes you gotta pivot. Making a plan is wonderful, but sometimes you get in the middle of that plan and realize that this is not going to work out. And you know what? It's okay to pivot. It's okay to adjust. It's okay to even abandon the whole thing, because sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes we didn't plan well, and sometimes we just can't do it. And you know what? It's okay. So if you work your holiday plan and it is perfect, wonderful. I have yet to have a perfectly planned holiday. I aspire to that, but there always seems to be something that comes up that derails my plan in some way. And we have to be forgiving with ourselves. We have to adjust when necessary, pivot, turn back, do whatever we need to do, because it really is about making others happy, but it's also about making yourself happy. And creating something with joy is the best thing that you can do. And if you're not getting any joy out of it, then what's the actual point? I hope that you enjoyed this episode today, and make sure to check out all the links in the description box below and get your free planner and calendar. I will send it straight to your inbox. I would love to know if you have already started planning for the holidays, or are you the kind of person who likes to wait till the very last minute? And also, what are you working on? I love hearing about the projects that you guys are knitting and crocheting. It just gives me so many ideas, and it's so fun to know what you guys are doing as well. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button if you are new to my channel, and hit that bell notification to know when I publish a new video. Thank you so very much for spending a little bit of time with me today. I hope that this was helpful in some way. Make sure to stay safe out there, and happy stitching.